Imagine this scenario. You're walking down the street, minding your own business, when someone approaches and says words that hit your sorest spot. Perhaps they mock your appearance, question your significance, or try to devalue everything you've worked so hard to build. What's the typical reaction of most people? They instantly explode, succumb to anger, and frantically start defending themselves, allowing emotions to completely seize control of their mind. However, 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli grasped a truth that remains inaccessible to most of our contemporaries. The one who allows insults to wound them has already lost. You must realize that the moment you react, you lose. By allowing someone else to control your emotional state, you voluntarily hand them power over you on a silver platter. But what if I told you there exists another path that allows you to achieve a state of absolute inner peace that no one can disturb? Imagine a level of self-control where any insult bounces off you like water off stone, and your mental invulnerability inspires more awe than anyone's rage. That's precisely what we'll discuss today. Not just advice, but harsh laws of mental superiority that Machiavelli himself would use to remain unshakable in a world full of chaos. By the end of our discussion, you'll understand how to transform into a person impossible to throw off balance, who never loses control and never gives enemies the pleasure of seeing weakness. The fundamental truth. Before we delve into studying the laws, you must grasp one fundamental truth. People can only hurt you when you give them permission. Think about it. Any insult is just a set of sounds, air vibrations, having no real power until you grant it significance through your reaction. True power begins where reflexive response ends. Many mistakenly believe that composure is a sign of weakness, passivity, or character, but they're deeply wrong. Indifference isn't weakness, it's the highest form of dominance and total control. By ceasing to react to provocations, you deprive your opponent of their weapon. You become the complete master of your emotions and transform into a dangerous player in the best sense, unpredictable, immune to manipulation, and maintaining complete self-control. Now let's examine the 10 dark laws of Machiavelli that will make you absolutely unshakable, invulnerable, and unwavering. Law number 1. Expect disrespect before it manifests. Most people live in an illusion of fairness, hoping for kindness and rule following from others. When reality shatters these expectations, they're shocked and wounded. Machiavelli understood that disrespect isn't an accident, but a strategy used to test your strength and attempt control. If you're prepared in advance for betrayal, envy, and mockery, nothing can catch you off guard. Readiness for the worst manifestations of human nature makes your spirit unshakable. Compare this to walking through a dangerous neighborhood. Seeing crime, you're not surprised, but remain alert and in full combat readiness. Life is that dangerous quarter, but many carelessly wander through it with lowered visors, genuinely puzzled why they keep getting hit. As they say, the wise person does in advance what the fool arrives at only at the very end, caught off guard. Once you start perceiving attempts to hurt you as the expected norm, ill-wishers' actions become predictable, and predictability completely strips them of power over you. Law number 2. Master the art of silence. Silence often sounds far louder and more convincing than any witty retort. When a provocateur showers you with insults or tries to drag you into an argument, their only goal is to extract emotion from you, make you angry, and justify yourself. Your stormy reaction will be their triumph, while your icy silence will mean your unconditional victory. Remember moments when you ignored provocations. The aggressor likely began feeling uncomfortable, intensified their attack, but ultimately sank into doubt about their own rightness. By denying your opponent the expected reaction, you knock the ground from under their feet, making them wonder, did the blow not work? Or are you too strong? Or perhaps you're plotting a countermove. Silence breeds mystery. Mystery causes fear, and fear inevitably transforms into respect. Machiavelli stated that if you cannot combine love and fear, it's more reliable to instill fear, and it's precisely your unpredictable silence that makes you a figure to be reckoned with. Law number 3. Never let emotions betray you. Rage, tears, or excessive explanations all are clear signs of weakness that your enemies will immediately turn into weapons against you. Displaying uncontrolled emotions equals voluntarily surrendering your positions. You're pointing out your own vulnerabilities to the opponent. Many mistakenly believe the path to strength lies through complete suppression of human feelings, but true power over yourself lies not in insensitivity, but in harsh discipline and control. The gulf between experiencing anger and allowing it to burst out is enormous. The master lives through the storm inside while maintaining absolute calm outside, while the amateur becomes a hostage to their own experiences. Remember Niccolo Machiavelli's words, "Since love and fear can hardly coexist, if you must choose, it's much more reliable to instill fear than to be loved." Emotional endurance turns you into an unpredictable player whose reactions are impossible to calculate, meaning you're impossible to manipulate. Law number 4. Hold the frame and never go on defense. The desire to justify yourself is a mistake that destroys your authority. When someone questions your action or competence, attempting to prove your rightness demonstrates your insecurity and dependence on others' opinions. True strength doesn't need constant confirmation, and confidence doesn't require endless explanations for every doubter. By entering into an argument and trying to defend yourself, you essentially accept the attacker's rules of the game, acknowledging their right to judge you and allowing their opinion to influence your behavior. Instead of playing the role of defendant, you must seize the initiative, impose your interaction scenario, and make your opponent play by your rules. Machiavelli wisely noted, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few feel who you truly are." Therefore, refusing petty justifications creates an aura of strength around you. This doesn't mean refusing to protect your interests. It means you choose the time and method of reaction based on cold calculation, not wounded pride. Law number 5. Develop immunity to both criticism and praise. This law may seem paradoxical. You must develop immunity not only to criticism, but also to praise, separating your ego from any external assessments. Many struggle with fear of judgment, forgetting that dependence on compliments makes a person just as vulnerable and fragile. Both flattery and insult are links in one chain that ties your self-esteem to external factors and deprives you of internal support. One who blooms from approval inevitably withers from condemnation. A truly strong personality relies exclusively on their own values, discipline, and internal compass. This isn't a call to ignore feedback, but advice to filter it through the prism of usefulness. Use constructive criticism for growth and accept deserved praise with dignity, but don't let them control your state. Law number 6. Train your mind through reward and consequence. Every time emotions take over in situations requiring restraint, you must resort to conscious disciplinary measures. This isn't about self-flagellation or excessive severity toward yourself, but about creating the right stimulus system for your brain, which learns through consequences of actions. If maintaining calm begins to associate with pleasure in your mind and emotional breakdown with discomfort, your subconscious will naturally start choosing composure over impulsive reaction. In practice, this method works as follows. If you manage to maintain composure in a provocative situation, definitely reward yourself with something pleasant. If you succumb to emotions and lost control, assign yourself a kind of penalty requiring willpower, an exhausting workout, ice-cold shower, or complete refusal of entertainment for the entire evening. This establishes a clear connection between emotional incontinence and inevitable difficulties, turning self-control from compulsion into automaticity. Law number 7. Use indifference as your sharpest weapon. While most people try to defend themselves, argue, or prove their rightness, masters understand one truth. The less you react, the more it bothers the opponent. Your indifference disappoints manipulators more than any anger, because by losing your temper, you only confirm they can control your emotions, whereas composure demonstrates their complete powerlessness. Imagine a person genuinely unconcerned with others' opinions. Others either develop respect for them or desperately seek their attention. And this is where the crushing power of genuine indifference lies. When in response to an insult, the aggressor receives not rudeness or coldness, but absolute absence of interest, this strikes their ego. Machiavelli taught, "The lion cannot defend itself from traps, and the fox from wolves. So you need to be a fox to recognize the trap, and a lion to frighten enemies." Be cunning, recognizing provocations, and simply bypass them, not allowing yourself to be drawn into someone else's game. Law number 8. Redirect energy into personal power. Every attempt to hurt or humiliate you actually gives you fuel, and the question is only how you use it. Instead of burning out in meaningless arguments and worrying about others' opinions, smart people invest this impulse in building their own empire, strengthening skills, and massive personal growth. If someone doubts your success, let it double your work ethic. If they criticize your appearance or intellect, let it become powerful motivation for sports and continuous learning. Remember that the attacker always reveals their own fears and complexes, while simultaneously suggesting where, in their opinion, the blow should be struck. Use this information to turn your supposed weaknesses into undeniable and obvious strengths. Don't waste energy on petty skirmishes with petty people. Instead, follow Machiavelli's principle. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo. I want to overthrow it. Exceed any expectations and limitations they try to impose on you. Law number 9. Let go with cold calculation. Reject the false dilemma between forgiveness and revenge that society imposes. Machiavelli knew there exists a third, wiser path. Sober analysis, where any actions, including retribution, are considered exclusively as pragmatic tools, not emotional obligations. You're not obliged to avenge everyone who treated you unfairly or prove your strength by getting into every fight. Certainly, sometimes a harsh response is necessary. It protects your reputation, serves as a warning to others, and works for your long-term interests. But such a blow should be delivered cold-bloodedly, and only at the moment of your clear advantage. However, far more often, revenge is too expensive, taking precious time, energy, and mental resources that would be wiser to direct toward building your own success. A truly strong personality decides for themselves when to pay attention to a problem and when it's better to pass by, not allowing emotions to dictate the behavior scenario. Law number 10. Become untouchable through detachment. People can hurt you only when they find a breach in your defense or discover something you treasure so much that you're willing to sacrifice inner peace to protect it. True invulnerability comes the moment nothing external can shake your inner balance, turning you into a figure not subject to others' influence. Being detached doesn't mean becoming indifferent to everything in the world. It means not allowing your attachment to make you vulnerable to manipulation. You can deeply love your family, be proud of your work, and strive for success, but not allow threats, criticism, or failures to destroy your spirit. The essence of this state is to have preferences but not dependencies, to desire something but not need it as the only condition for maintaining self-respect. When external circumstances stop controlling your state, others lose leverage over you. And the impossibility of manipulating your emotions means the impossibility of controlling your behavior. Remember Machiavelli's words, "One who enjoys great respect is difficult to involve in conspiracy." When you maintain composure, people involuntarily begin to respect your strength, self-control, and independence. Respect is a far more valuable and lasting currency than simple sympathy. Conclusion: knowledge without action is dead. These principles aren't abstract theory, but practical weapons capable of transforming you into a person impossible to shake or subjugate to another's will. Remember that such indifference isn't weakness, but the highest form of sovereignty, a crown that only the chosen can wear, those who know how to respond to provocations with icy silence and remain deaf to destructive criticism. Knowledge without action is dead, so start applying these laws today. Choose the principle that resonates with you most strongly, and practice it until it becomes part of your nature. Over time, you'll become that person who maintains clarity of mind amid universal chaos and panic, the one who seems to possess immunity to life's adversities. If these thoughts helped you understand more deeply the nature of power and self-control, share them with those who react too sharply to external irritants and need to gain internal support. To grasp all the secrets of mental fortitude, continue studying the ways of masters who don't react reflexively, don't justify themselves, but simply exist in a state of unshakable strength. I am invincible.